to show strength and unity following a series of leaks to the newspapers. Last night, the Prime Minister told her party their bickering could result in Jeremy Corbyn winning power. So could the cracks really form new path into number 10 for the Labour rival? Well, let's talk to news editor at Huck magazine, Michael Segalov, and Caroline Farrow, who is a blogger at Conservative Woman. Hello to you both. Thank you very much indeed for joining us on Sky News this afternoon. Ladies first, Caroline, what on earth is she going to do to try and steady the ship?
I think she's going to be absolutely fine. I mean, let's think we're going into parliamentary recess. We've got the whole of the summer ahead. I think she's quite right to clamp down on some of these leaks, which are damaging the Conservative Party. But I think what she needs to do is just not to panic and to say, OK, you know, I'm in charge. I mean, let's be clear. She has won a mandate. She's won a much bigger mandate than Jeremy Corbyn. You know, she has won far more seats than he did, and when you look at the 2010 election, Corbyn was calling that result a disaster. Now this time round, he's only won another 4 seats, and of course we've got this morning the Electoral Commission saying that there's this big scandal that some students, or thousands of students potentially, have cast their vote twice. So I think Theresa May just needs to settle down. Remember, she has got that mandate, and you know, just continue the course that she's on.
Okay, Michael?
I mean, if I was Theresa May, I'd be panicking right now. She's about to go into the negotiations for Brexit, the biggest that have faced this country for a generation. And she not only has a divided cabinet and a divided party, she hasn't got the support of the wider general public, and there's clearly no plan for how those negotiations are going to play out. So I think to say that Theresa May shouldn't be panicking is an absurdity. And what I think we should be looking at more broadly is what the Conservative Party are doing. Let's be clear, it wasn't just Theresa May who lost the general election. It was the Conservative Party with no plan,
To be fair, she did
no
win,
suggestions.
actually. No, I mean, you know, I can't let you get away with that, Michael, because she won rather than lost.
I mean, she lost on her own terms, though, didn't she? She set out to say she was going to increase her majority. She was coming in to, you know, clamp down and make sure that when they went into Brexit negotiations, the Tories had a say. And they failed to win a majority. And that was the reason for her calling the election. Okay. So I'd say she lost it. OK,
well, Caroline, I mean, it is a fair point that she may be in number 10, but she's held below the waterline. It's just a matter of time now.
No, I don't think it is a matter of time. And she didn't lose the election per se. I mean, let's remember that Labour got 53 seats fewer than the Tories. You know, they haven't got enough votes to form a government. They would need the DUP, who they've burnt their bridges there. They would need the SNP. They would need the Liberal Democrats. They would need every single party to come into coalition with them. Then we've also got this issue this morning. The Labour Party have rowed back. Jeremy Corbyn promised that he would deal with the issue of student debt. He said, you know, all these young people, they've been burdened by the time that they started their degrees, and you know, this is something that we will deal with. This is a promise. And now all of a sudden the Labour Party are saying, well, actually it's an aspiration. Now, does he really think that...
Caroline, to be fair, it's not about Jeremy Corbyn. It's about Theresa May and the fact that she can't keep her troops in line.
But I mean, every single government has a little bit of leaking. But let's look again at the Labour Party. The Labour Party are far from united over Brexit. You've got about 46 Labour MPs
Caroline, we're not talking about Labour, we're talking about the Tories and the fact that she is held below the waterline. We're going to bring you back in a second, Michael. Sorry about this. But seriously, she needs her troops on side. If everything you're saying about the Labour Party is right, why aren't they behaving themselves? They're not. They're undermining her. They're undermining the second in command, the Chancellor, and it's a mess.
I wouldn't say that it was a mess, but yes, and this is why, you know, she has issued various memos, and she said any more leaking and people will be fired. And I think probably that's something that she absolutely needs to stand by. You know, if she discovers if the source of the leaks are discovered, then yes, you know, she needs to fell the axe and you know, get rid of those who are undermining her. But you know, this is all part and part of politics, and the Conservative Party know full well that they haven't really at the moment got a genuine contender to replace Theresa May. Now, it might be that something lines up over over the summer. I know there's been a lot of talk about Jacob Rees-Mogg, quite how serious that's going to turn out to be and whether or not he'll turn out to be a strong contender. But, you know, the general election has taken place and it seems absurd. I think we've all got election fatigue, and it seems absurd to be trying to force another election. And I think that Labour will find that it's counterproductive for them as well.
Okay. I wouldn't put any money on Jacob Rees-Mogg, I'm just saying. Michael, as far as opposition is concerned, you know, they're not. We've seen that they did an awful lot better, but they didn't win the last general election, and Mrs May is still in power. And the fact that we haven't got a strong opposition means that they are bickering in cabinet.
Well, I wouldn't say we've not got a strong opposition right now. I think that's really unfair to say, considering that in every poll that's coming out at the moment, Labour are ahead of the Tories. The cabinet stands united. Jeremy Corbyn is seen as a popular leader who could be going into Westminster.
Okay,
I think, you know, the Tories have...
Why didn't they? Why, if he was so popular and he's so good at it, why did he not get the keys to number 10?
Yeah, no, I totally accept that Labour didn't win the general election. They won on the Conservatives' terms, but not on their own. And I think that if you look at polling now, and if you ask me if they'd had an extra week of campaigning, the outcome might have been different. But this is about the Conservative Party. Let's be clear, they're the party in government. They're the party going into Brexit negotiations. And right now, as has been said, there is no contender to take over from Theresa May. Jacob Rees-Mogg bizarrely being bandied about as the best replacement. And I think if and when that crumbles, if and when Theresa May's tenure falls apart, and I say, actually, it's a matter of when rather than if, there should be another general election and Labour ready and waiting.
Next election could be as early as October, Caroline, and I did actually interview Lord Heseltine yesterday, and he said if there is an election as early as October, the Tories won't be in power.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Okay, I was making the point that Lord Heseltine, who I spoke to yesterday, said if there is another election in October, then the Tories will not be in power.
I think Lord Heseltine is just being pessimistic. I mean, it's a possibility, and of course, it's something that the Tory party and the country needs to be alert to. I mean, Labour have got spending plans of 500 billion, you know, which aren't fully costed and which are causing quite a lot of alarm. So it could just be that he's saying that to kind of really get everybody to stick together, to kind of increase unity. But I cannot see at the moment. I cannot see Jeremy Corbyn getting into number 10. He didn't manage it a few weeks ago, therefore I don't see why he's suddenly going to manage it now.
Okay, Michael, I mean, the Labour Party is hardly a party of unity, is it?
Well, I think the Labour Party right now is much more united than the Conservatives. And again, I think it's bizarre to be going back into general election discussions about the Labour Party not having a fully costed manifesto when the Tories had no costings whatsoever. The Labour Party not having a plan for Britain when the Tories wanted to snatch lunches from children and implement a dementia tax. But you're also right, politics changes fast. We can't deny that. A few months ago, Theresa May had a strong majority, which she threw away on a vanity project. So to say that in the next general election, looking at the polling now, looking at how popular the manifesto was, to say that Jeremy Corbyn's Labour Party couldn't win an election is an absurdity.
Caroline?
I don't think it is an absurdity at all, particularly when you look at the vote share. So, you know, the Conservatives did get by far the much larger share of the vote. And then when you also look at the fact that the Electoral Commission this morning have been saying that there is a massive scandal of students. And
no,
we
allegedly.
know that students...
Allegedly is what they said. They didn't say there was, they said allegedly.
Well, if we have got this double voting scandal, then it may well be that actually the Conservative share of the vote is much larger. And there is nothing like an election, if it does happen, and I don't think it will, because I think the country has got election fatigue, but there is nothing like an election to actually concentrate minds. And what the Tory party really need to do is actually go back to conservative Tory values, rather than kind of at the moment they're following this slight policy of appeasement. You know, I think there is a sense that Theresa May is nervous.
Okay, so
but
go back to Tory party
see
values and get rid of their leader at the same time, because that's what's going to happen, isn't it?
I think that's really unlikely for the reasons I said. They don't have at the moment a really strong contender to replace Theresa May. They really don't. And there isn't this level of dissatisfaction. I think what needs to happen is that the whole Brexit negotiations just need to go ahead and be negotiated, and then everybody will know where they stand. At the moment, it seems to be that there's a lot of filibustering. People are trying to throw a spanner in the works.
Final thought from you, Michael. As far as Jeremy Corbyn is concerned, they might be singing his name at Glastonbury, but the country wasn't. Does Labour need to replace their leader if there's another election?
Oh, I think there's no calls now whatsoever for Labour to replace their leader. He's cemented himself as a popular leader. But I just want to pick up on that fatigue point, because I think whilst people might be tired of elections and tired of going to the polling booths, people are mostly tired of a failing Tory austerity agenda that isn't actually speaking to people anymore. And what Labour have been offering, and what Corbyn has been offering, what the polling is now showing that people are reacting and responding to, is an exciting plan for this country that actually has an opportunity to offer something.
Okay,
and if you ask the Tories what they've got, then there's nothing there.
We've overrun on time. It was good to talk to both of you. Thank you very much indeed for joining us on Sky News this afternoon. Thank you. Let us know your thoughts. You can tweet me directly if you would like to, at Kay Burley.